Hello. Testing. Hello.
Testing.
Oh, I can hear you. God damn it. I'm glad that you didn't jump right on because my intestines
Oh wait.
were.
Hello? Say something again.
I said I'm glad you didn't jump right on because my intestines were needing
Hmm.
to clear.
Yeah, nice. I can hear you now, and I guess you can hear me.
I can. All right. You
Woo!
ready to do this? You ready to do
Uh,
this?
yeah, why not?
Let's do it. Hello, and welcome to another episode. A very special episode. A trade deadline MLB Mets and kind of Yankees episode that we never thought we'd be having, Doug, but we are
Not
having
this
this
kind.
episode. Not this kind.
Not
So,
this kind at all. Yeah, it's been a while since we've done a weekday night show. It's kind of weird, at
yes.
least night for me. So, cheers. I'm just drinking a cheap red here, and
Oh, now you're making me
not.
you're making me jealous. I feel like I should go run inside and get some.
I think you should. I can.
I mean, you
It's
already
a
waited this long,
yeah,
everybody. Just hold on. Doug, keep it going. Tell them what you're drinking.
absolutely. Good old 90 plus. You can buy this by the pallet at your local Costco and Caldor. Pinot Noir, California. That vintage 2021 that we all love. The Pinot Noir is a certain kind of grape. I hear there's pine cones, that chocolate, but like the baker's chocolate, and some grilled salmon and sauteed chicken with a hint of charcleberry fin. 90 plus from the sellers of I don't know. Lots 179, the maybe less successful Thomas Pynchon novel. That's what I'm drinking. Vaya con Dios, New York Mets. I think we're about done
All right.
with my 90 plus wine commercial. Thank you, Mike. That was good timing there. Do you have a cheap red?
It's
Unlike
mid
Taylor
cheap.
Naquin last year, who was not a cheap red.
No, he cost us a lot. Cost us a lot. We didn't even resign his ass. I think he went to like Japan or something.
Oh yeah, he
Uh,
was great.
He actually
Good job,
wasn't
Billy.
terrible. For a fourth outfielder, he wasn't terrible. We gave up too much for him, and we didn't re-sign him.
Have you seen this team's record since we lost Travis Jankowski, the immortal? Got,
Like,
overplayed our hands last year. I'm just saying.
oh my
But
god.
but I think we all can agree that all of us thought we were going 90 plus in the win column this year for the New York Mets. So here we are today, August 2nd, having a very, very different kind of conversation than we did last. I remember last year's trade deadline show because you were livid.
I was. I still am in retrospect because it's exactly what I said
You've
come
been
to
proven right.
fruition.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't have a 100-win team very often. And just because they hit that goal last year didn't mean that we were going to replicate it this year.
No,
And
sir.
I can tell you, Doug, we made a lot of moves. And from a fan aspect, I don't even want to say from a fan aspect. I think from a disappointment aspect, it was disappointing because of the expectations at the beginning of the year, not just for me or you, but even the casual Met fan, even
Yeah.
like everyone, like we put a target on our back by spending $350 million this
Yeah.
offseason, and everyone it was fun to hate on the Mets again, and we proved them all right.
Yeah.
The money doesn't buy
Once
anything,
again, like definitely not the first time we've gone through that. So I don't even
right?
feel it anymore. I'm kind of
I
numb to
mean,
it.
I stopped
Um,
watching in May this year. A
well,
team that
yeah.
won 101 games last year, I stopped watching in May. That means I got about 30 to 45 days of baseball, like joy this year only. And then and it slowly turned into pain. So it's probably 2 weeks of joy, followed by like a month of like slow death, pain. And then I get to the point where I cannot watch the team every night because they're underachieving. whether it was from the pitching. And let's be honest, the Diaz injury in the WBC was kind of like the beginning of things to come.
I was going to kind of take exception with your description of this season. I feel like you were in pain since that. since early March, since that hot fireplace poker up the butt that we all got with
again,
injury,
proven.
so.
I was also proven right at that point. Like, don't let these guys pitch. You asked me who wins. I said I don't give a fuck as long as no one gets hurt. A week later, he gets hurt. As far as it was concerned with last year, we needed to go for it with the prospects, and we didn't. And now the prospects are finally getting to play, some of them, and maybe I'll give Epler a pass. Maybe everyone was asking for Alvarez last year at the deadline, no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe he was stuck at a roadblock, and they didn't want Vientos, and maybe he didn't want to trade Beatty, and they didn't want Maurizio at the time.
Yeah. Can you imagine if we dumped off Alvarez or Beatty for what was his name? Wilson Contreras last year? Just it could be worse. I'm actually not in a bad mood today because I already knew the season was over. I mean, you're right. It is sad to scoop the first pile of dirt on the coffin though. I mean, it's pretty official now, right? But
we also actually had the best month of July of any team in baseball.
Is that right? Is that accurate?
Yeah.
No.
That is accurate. Yep. I mean, there's also, you got to keep in mind it was truncated because of the All-Star break.
Yeah. Okay.
Things of that nature.
It's fun with sample sizes, but
yes.
Typical we go see a game where they just don't show up, of course, you and I.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And then they did the same thing. They started doing that. They've started doing that again. But the season is over. For all intents and purposes, the season's over. And to your point, I am not upset about it at all at where we are now.
Yeah. So, so I want to talk about this before we get into the trades because those are fascinating. But I feel like this is a new kind of Mets surrender. Back in the day, the Wilpons would either double down if they had the money, or they were just going to, stay the course. Last year, you saw we kind of just threw some patches on because it wasn't the year, which was, and now we've kind of taken a different tack. And the only guys we traded really are guys who either have expiring contracts or guys who are going to be 40 next year, unless I'm forgetting something.
Nope.
I thought in that context, they've done a good job here. Your thoughts?
I think they did exactly what they needed to do, which is, and it's funny because someone pointed this out on X or whatever the fuck it's called now, that if you look at Steve Cohen's speaking points from his last public speaking until today, which he said something very pertinent today, which we'll get to.
Oh, I didn't see that. Nice.
He said that they were going to try and trade, it was already sunk costs, and they were going to try and trade if they couldn't make a run, they were going to try and trade all the sunk costs that they did. And so what that means is they had already spent the money, $43 million on Verlander this year, next year, and 35 the year after. So what's that?
The vesting option he'll probably hit, right? So
so it's 100
another 2 years.
So it's 100 let's call it 30 million between the start of this year to the end of 2025, where he's going to be 40, 41, 42. And I'm just using this as an example, but this is what he did with pretty much every trade they've made this year, from the starting with Eduardo Escobar trade up until now. So
they were on the hook. Most of the salary.
We were on the hook for 120. So if we didn't make the trade, we're paying 120 amortized over 3 years, right? I'm just using Verlander as. So this is what I want you guys to think about that are listening. So if we didn't move Verlander, we were paying 120 million. Whatever we up until what we paid to this point, but it'll be 120 million total, right?
By the way, I have the numbers on this one in particular. If you want them. Apparently, the way it works out is the Mets will pay 52.5 if that option vests. If not, it'll just be next year's, which is 35. There you go.
Right. So they it's not 35 total. I think they agreed to pay 50% of the remaining salary this year and 50% of salary next year, which turns into 35, and then 50% of the vesting option. So they've agreed to pay half of his salary for as long as he is a member of the Houston Astros. So, in theory, we've really just taken $120 million. We've dumbed it down to, because let's assume he's going to play the whole contract, to 53, right? Mm-hmm. And then let's add another. I think he was 44, so let's just say he has already been paid 22 this year for fucking argument's sake. It's probably a little bit more, but let's say 22. Yep. So we're at 75 million of the 120 million, right? So they saved and I don't know if 120 is the exact number either. So, but for argument's purposes, we just saved 45 million by trading him, plus whatever the luxury cap tax was going to be on top of that, which I think is another dollar. It's at least dollar for dollar. So we just saved 90 million by trading him, and we got the Astros' two top prospects in Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford. Right, Ryan Clifford, is that his name?
I saw 1 and 4, 1 and 3. Depends how you look at it, but yeah, Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford.
Yeah, yes. And so those two guys were mid-season top 50 prospects or top 100 prospects.
It's not a great system anymore over there. You do have to keep in mind that context. However, both of them can rake. I think Drew Gilbert's a no doubt major league player, and Clifford's hitting in A ball. That's all I could say.
So when you looked at the beginning of the year, neither one of them were in the top 100.
Right.
Clifford and Gilbert have been raking. Clifford, they said, would have been number 36 on the mid-year report, and Clifford would have been 85 or something like that. Whatever. It depends on what you subscribe to, right? But at the end of the day, we saved $90 million, and we're able to get back to what are going to be top 100 prospects in the 2024
potential future center fielder in Drew Gilbert,
and potential future first baseman, which we also need to talk about. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a sunk cost, and in reality, we actually saved money, right? Because we were on the hook for the 120. Now we only paid 75, which saved us actually 90 because of the luxury tax, and we were able to get two prospects for a guy who's going to be 40, 41, 42 over the next 3 years. Now, was he pitching? Yeah. Now, was he pitching great in the last 7 starts? Yes, for the most part. A couple of starts he didn't get out of the 5th inning, which I think is going to be what you're going to see from him over the next 2.5 years.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to, go a complete game anymore. And by the way, congrats to Justin on his 250th win. Yes. No one's really going to be doing that much in baseball going forward, so that's kind of a big deal.
No, and I love Justin Verlander. I'm sad the way his Mets career went.
We barely knew him, because he missed all of April, and I don't think was any good in May, or missed most of May too. I forget.
I think I watched 1 or 2 of his starts, and he had a propensity for giving up the first inning home run in the early goings of his
he did
career, and
that's all right.
That typically got me to shut the game off immediately. So,
saves you 3 hours. He's a generous man.
Yeah, we barely knew you, Justin, but at the end of the day, this is what our MO was on all these trades, Doug. So why don't you get into the trades?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about them. Let's start with the Escobar trade and work our way down from there. If you don't mind.
That's one I don't have notes on, but I was actually surprised when I saw that the prospect Crow is actually fairly high rated. I think he's top 20 for us now after all these trades. But he might be a piece as early next year. Is that correct?
Yes. So I think he's a guy that he's got he's got something going on, shoulder or elbow or something, where he hasn't pitched since the Mets acquired him. But he has the goods out of, I think he was a 2nd round or a 3rd round pick a couple of years ago from the Angels. Someone that we think we can develop. He's, I think, in AA right now, so closer to hitting AAA with the rest of this. He's probably not going to pitch for the rest of this year, is my guess, or very limited. And then Landon Marceau or something like that. I think that's got more of like a middle depth reliever kind of guy, depth, exactly.
But honestly, getting anything for that guy, who's a good guy and probably overpaid.
Yep,
we got
him off the books. We paid most of his salary this year. I don't think we paid anything for next year to get these guys, which eliminates some
And by the way,
Luxury
speaking of
tax.
doubling and tripling down, like the Mets kind of used to do back in the day, or maybe how Lou Lamoriello does it, man, the Angels are desperate. They're just trying to squeeze anything out of that, huh?
I mean, it was an interesting take.
Give us something for Dominic Leone. I mean, that says it all. Like, the times are tough.
Right, right.
But
So
anyway, yeah, I can't hate on the Escobar trade. I can't really hate on any of these. Are there any that you don't like at all?
no, I
Yeah.
think I would have liked a little bit more for Max. What
Yeah.
maybe one of their top
Another
three,
lottery
top
ticket.
two guys. But what I can tell you about the Max trade is what we've seen all year. He's he's getting
He's
close to
slowing down.
falling off the cliff. His velocity's down, his spin rate's down. Coincidentally, with not being able to muck up the ball,
Right.
and he's turning 39. He just turned 39, and he's not. He doesn't have the stuff of a number one or a number two anymore. So to get that salary off the books for next year, and part of this year, and save the money again to go get Acuna's younger brother, who looks like he's going to either be a middle infielder or a center fielder, and definitely a speed guy.
Oh my God! Just having that genetic background, I'm intrigued. I'm not used to the Mets like having guys like that. So I liked Max. I think he got a little bit of an unfair shake, although you make good points. I mean, he missed 10 starts last year with injuries, and he just hasn't looked like himself completely. I thought he was turning it around lately. Maybe the numbers don't even back that up. But
He was pitching. He was pitching better again over the last month. I mean, it's no coincidence that we had a really good month and Verlander and Max pitched well.
They were finally kind of working, but
I think in Epler and Cohen's mind, again, sunk cost. This guy's 39. He's not going to get better next year. Verlander's most likely not going to get better. Neither of them.
No, I mean they might hold the line, but you're right.
But the line wasn't great.
Yeah, it wasn't great, and you still have two more rotation spots to figure out. Why not cash in right now?
Especially, and so let's pause there for a second and talk about what Cohen said today. So,
oh yeah, please.
So I texted you after the Max trade, and I said, Epler said we're not going to compete next year. Max said, he outed us to Ken Rosenthal on the Athletics, saying we've said we're punting on the 2024 season. We'll field a competitive team, but we're probably not going to be going for it until 2025. And I texted you and I said, Doug, what if Epler's just telling Max whatever he needs to say to get him to agree to remove his no trade clause, right? Because at that point,
I mean, that's catnip for, people getting mad on the internet, and people love getting mad on the internet.
Love it.
But can't get enough. So I'm completely with you. I mean, you tell Max what you got to, but like the fact they just picked up all these chips and have extra money now, like why would they? Who's to say they won't try to pull?
I mean, their whole core is in place,
right?
Canna probably wasn't going to be here next year. Escobar definitely wasn't going to be here next year. Hopefully, Beatty can solidify himself as the everyday third baseman. I think McNeil is probably going to become your everyday left fielder going forward. And
you don't cut ties with him yet. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no,
I think you're getting to Alonso.
Not yet. I will get to Alonso in a second, but like for next year's team, you're running back all these guys. The only position that is going to be open is either left field or second base, right? Wherever McNeil's not playing.
What about DH? Who's in DH?
Well, you got Vientos, hopefully, right? Hopefully it's Vientos, and if I'm a betting man,
Vogel's probably back.
Well, he's a free agent.
Is he finally UFA? I thought we had more.
I think he's a free agent after this year. You still got Vientos. You got Luke Voigt, who's raking down in AAA. That they have. I don't know why they didn't.
I'm surprised they haven't called him up. Yeah.
And then you still got DJ Stewart, who is a poor man's Vogelback, and that could be your lefty-righty platoon with Vientos and Stewart. Stewart's actually playing better than Vogelback at this point.
Well, yeah, fine. I mean, the rest of the year, I like watching like underdog guys like that. So that's what I'll be doing the rest of the year. I don't think
I will tune in more now than.
Yeah. I don't think we should pencil in it like DJ Stewart into next year's lineup, though. I think it's
I'm not saying that
early
we are.
for that.
I'm not saying that we are.
But people online obviously are. And like, oh, again, what the hell? Yeah, here we go. This is a rebuild.
Well, we have 3 open starting pitching positions next year. We got Senga and we got Quintana. We have some depth guys in Peterson, McGill, and Lucchesi, who I'm sure for the rest of this year we're going to just let them pitch and see what happens.
Please let them pitch.
And go from there. Maybe one of those guys becomes the 5th starter next year, right?
Right.
And then
one of them should be. I'll go out and say
one of them should be, and then the other 2 should be your depth guys.
I wish McGill would figure it out. Whatever's bothering him.
I have a feeling he needs Tommy John, dude. He needs Tommy John. That's my guess. Whenever this happens, whenever you fall off a cliff like this, it's usually some sort of arm issue that's underlying, and you try to pitch through it because you don't want to go to the minors and you don't want to get Tommy John because you don't want to lose a year and a half of your fucking career.
Right.
But
I'm pretty sure this is a random thought, but I'm pretty sure Robert Gesellman had the same issue. Like he just didn't want to take that year off. And he couldn't pitch.
I mean, you got to earn that money, right? When you're guys on these league minimum contracts, those 2 were.
It's so brutal.
It's not brutal. I mean, they're still making $500,000 a year, or $750,000 a year. So it's not the worst job in the world.
Well,
but
it's brutal if you're like a above average starting pitcher those first couple of years, and then you get hurt. And Matt Harvey,
right? Never got to cash in. Sad,
right?
But my thought is, and this is what Cohen said today with John Heyman. He said, I saw sunk costs, so I cut ties, and we'll be competitive next year. That we need we need starting pitching, and the free agent starting pitching market is going to be robust. So
I don't know about that last part, but okay.
I mean, Ohtani, Urias, there's about 5 to 10 guys.
There is a Giolito,
Nola,
and I keep forgetting about Nola. And Yamamoto, we'll see. I don't know if they can strike gold twice, 2 years in a row with Japanese import, but possibly.
I mean, that's Epler's fucking MO. Epler was the guy that brought Ohtani here. Epler is the guy that bought Senga here.
Oh my God.
I have a feeling if we think Yamamoto's the guy, he'll be the guy that gets him here too.
You know me. I don't think Ohtani's coming to the East Coast, but we have the owner who could make it happen. So, we could also make Juan Soto happen. I mean, there are a lot of options here, right? We can extend Pete, which I hope they do.
Correct. So that's the other thing that was interesting from this trade deadline is they came out and said, Epler said, and I don't know if this is a dog and pony show. He said, we're looking at trading guys that were out of contract this year and next. Apparently they were fielding calls on him during the trade deadline, and they needed to be blown away to move him.
Right.
He will be a free agent after 2024. He will be 30 after 2024. So thanks, Brody, for not letting him sit in the minor leagues for 30 days. But you kept him happy that way.
We were all happy when he was hitting bombs that April, but
we're still happy. So we can talk about that for a second, Doug. What do you think? Because I have my thoughts on this.
I'm glad you asked me that because I do actually have a fairly nuanced thought about this, and I don't have many nuanced thoughts these days. Too much going on, but with Pete, and I believe this as a diehard sports fan of any team, I think sometimes when you have a guy that everybody universally loves, you take that risk and you deal with any kind of sunk cost that comes with keeping at least one or two fan favorites around. I think that's part of running a successful franchise. And Pete Alonso checks all those boxes. So even if he becomes that Chris Davis guy who falls off the cliff in his 30s as a power hitter and becomes completely useless, I give him 8 to 10 years. I'm sorry. I don't care. If this was Fred Wilpon, I would already be like, okay, he's gone. But I'm fairly confident the Mets agree with me. What's the sense you get?
I don't know. That's the one thing that came out of this trade deadline that I am so perplexed by.
Do the quants see something about him that they just don't like?
That's what I don't. Or is
Yeah.
he a locker room problem?
Or,
Is
or
he the?
is he just, does he hate New York and we don't know it? I don't think he does.
I don't think he hates New York, but is
I
he
don't think
love New York too much, a la Ike Davis? Is he going out too much and partying? I don't think
he
so.
does have that loft in Manhattan with Mr. Met,
Yes, and his
according
wife
to the commercials.
as well, where they're smashing fucking pancakes on a Saturday in their underwear. But
Is the wife in the commercials? I haven't seen that one yet.
no, but he's got this new wife, and they went to his poor wife. She went somewhere with him, and she's not a petite woman, and the fucking Twitterverse or Xverse just ripped her a new one. And shame on you, Xverse or Twitterverse or whatever the fuck it's called.
The app is going off my phone, so try not to communicate with me through that thing.
Okay.
I haven't been looking at it the last month on my phone, and I think I'm ready to delete the app.
Okay.
I still got it on my desktop, but just a heads up.
I just don't know where else.
I might not laugh at the memes anymore.
Yeah, where's the news at?
Right.
Where do you get the news?
Exactly. That's unfortunately what we're losing with this dipshit, but that's a whole different episode.
Yes.
Well, yeah. So I mean, you raised a good point. Family does factor in. We live in New York. A lot of people don't like it here.
I can't fathom trading away the most prolific power hitter in franchise history.
Oh yeah,
homegrown for whatever in his prime. Unless you said, unless the quants think that he's going to fall off a cliff in 2 or 3 years and his bat speed's going to slow down or something.
Yeah.
But
he becomes our Rusty Staub for all you old timers, if anybody remembers that. I don't think he's going off a cliff, people. I don't know.
Neither do I. I don't quite understand.
I don't see it.
I don't quite understand why we haven't given him a contract extension yet, and we still got another year and a half to get there.
We do.
But he definitely was. There was some eye-opening comments from him after the deadline, saying Epler didn't speak with him, but Epler spoke with Nimmo and
really
was it McNeil or Lindor? He spoke. So Epler before or during the trade deadline, he had a conversation with Nimmo and Lindor. Now, obviously, those guys are signed long term, so they're obviously
probably the only two guys he wasn't listening on, honestly. And I don't care if he's listening on, Pete.
Right. I don't care if he's listening either, but
he's got to.
I don't understand
manage that internally.
If you think you're going to compete in a year or two, right. Pete's still in his prime at that point.
Right.
What I don't understand why, unless you think that this year has shown that he is susceptible to something, because he's not hitting well this year from a average standpoint. He is having a Chris Davis-esque year, but he's still got 31 home runs and 77 RBIs.
Is he still leading the NL? I haven't looked. I know he's up there.
I'm not sure if he's leading it. I know he had his 31st home run last night, and he has 77 RBIs. He had 2 RBIs last night.
Yeah.
And
the only reason I know Alvarez hit a shot. I came home from dinner and saw that extra inning home run. Wow.
I didn't
laser.
I watched none of it.
And then I watched them blow a 2-run lead and balk the winning run.
We went from having one lefty in the bullpen, 0 lefties in the bullpen last year, 1 lefty in the bullpen this year, to now 5 lefty relievers because we're just burning out.
Yeah. And then they all
quadruple
suck.
A guys' arms. Yeah, they all suck. None of these guys. The guy
okay. I don't want to be unfair to Raley.
Yeah, well, we didn't trade Raley because this is why, and this is why I believe what Steve said
next year.
This is why I believe what Steve said, because if you look at the bones of the team next year, the bullpen will have Diaz, Ottavino, and Raley, Andrew Smith coming back.
Is Ottavino locked up for next year? I forget.
He's got everyone's got an option, or they're signed up that I just mentioned.
I guess that's why he didn't get traded, because I was kind of surprised if he was expiring too.
Correct. Right. So I think Robertson made sense because he had no options, and we could always re-sign the guy if we wanted to.
Yep.
So from that point of view, your back end of your bullpen is pretty much in place. You're gonna have to fill that in with some pieces. We made a trade with the Dodgers for a couple of guys that we want to take a look at. We got a bunch of fucking quadruple A guys that we're going to be able to
Adam Kolarek.
Yeah, I don't know whoever that guy is.
Our original Mets draft pick.
Awesome. At 34 years old. Phil Bickford, though, is a little intriguing. He's a Dodger guy that has a little bit of
some playoff experience, I believe.
He's got a little bit of stuff. Let's see what he can do in some high leverage roles and see what happens. And then I think your starting lineup has a few holes, but not.
It's not egregious.
You're rolling back the guys from this year, and you're betting that Jeff McNeil has a way better year, that Pete has a way better year, that Marte has a way better year, that Nimmo has a way better year,
Marte
that Lindor
especially
has a way better year, and then Alvarez and Beatty have the time under their belt, and you hope that someone can, between Vientos and Mauricio, can grab a hold of that DH and that second base role.
And there's help coming in the outfield. There's no way they're not picking up guys in the offseason. So I'm not too concerned here. I'm not too concerned.
No, so let's dive into we talked about all the ancillary stuff. Let's dive into the actual moves and how you feel about all of them.
All right, if you want to get back to them, so let's just go back to getting an Acuna. I kind of love it, like little Braves Mets rivalry kind of juice. Kid can run, right? It's 40, 50 steals kind of guy.
Drink.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy's here. Drink.
Tommy's here. You want to drink?
Tommy?
No, you don't want to drink.
Pussy. Cat.
Mm-hmm. He's calling you names. Go mess him up. You want to see a war face? This is a war face.
Shoved his butthole in my face. So we're even.
That actually happened on a work call recently. And my customer called it out. They got cat butt. Yeah. Thanks, Tommy.
Did you drink on your work call?
I wanted to drink on that one. Put it that way.
That's great.
But
so we got Acuna.
He's our second. Is he our second now? Now that we have Drew Gilbert,
he's our second best prospect. Yes, behind Parada, whatever his last name is.
I thought people were putting Acuna ahead of Parada.
Again, depends on
either way, but that's kind of like the tier we got, right?
He was a top 60 prospect at the beginning of the year. Mid-year, he had gained some steam because he's having a great year at AA.
Already in Binghamton?
Yep. 21 years old, already in Binghamton. Got some pop in his bat. Got a lot of speed. Got some good contact numbers. Good batting average. Good on-base percentage. Can play second, short, and center field.
I love it. The top of the lineup guy. Maybe
he's fighting for that second base spot next year.
Absolutely. And we're not going to see him this year in City. I almost said Shea. I would have drank again. But I think 2024 is reasonable. And
we might see him next year, and he might win that. I think he's going to have every opportunity based on what we just talked about to win that second base job out of spring training.
I'll tell you what, Ronnie Mauricio better come up and at least get a taste this year. I think that's probably the only guy. Like, none of these guys are going to see any Mets action that we just picked up, right? Is that fair? Yeah.
No.
I mean, maybe Justin Jarvis, right?
I don't even think Justin Jarvis. Maybe the kid they got from the Angels for Dominic Leone, Jeremiah Jackson.
He's a double A, though, right?
He's a AA guy that's been at AA for 3 years, a second-round pick by Epler for the Angels in 2018. Yeah. So he's
some injury stuff, right?
I think he next year he's got to be on the big league
club. On the 40.
Oh,
and very. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, he has to be on the 40, or he can be on the Rule 5. I think you're right. And I don't know if you noticed this, but someone pointed out, and either deliberately or accidentally, the Mets did a good job with that kind of roster thing. Like, everybody they picked up is in a kind of a different year. So there aren't going to be like 6 dudes hitting the roster at the same time that they have to find a spot for, in other words. And come on, guys, like, some of these guys are getting traded in the offseason. Some of these guys will never play for the Mets. And so right now we have Parada, we have Jet Williams, we have Drew Gilbert, we have Acuna. Who else is at the top? Mauricio, I guess.
We got the Clifford, Ryan Clifford.
Yeah, like he might be
Ryan Mauricio. We got Vientos. We still have the kid that we drafted in the first round this year, and the kid we drafted in the second round this year. I can't remember either of their names. But
I'm not even mentioning the starters because our starters are a little weak still, but they're all younger.
I mean, Blade Tidwell looks.
He might get there next year.
Blade Tidwell looks the part. He's in AA and he's dominating, and this is his first full year in the minors.
Yeah, I take it back. You're right. He could be around by next year.
And then you got Vassell and you got
Hamill.
Who knows what those guys are? I think I like Vassell. Vassell was a guy that was a first round pick the year before, and then just tried to go back into the draft to like re-up his stat. Maybe he was a second round pick. He went back in the draft to re-up his status, and he had a terrible year at Virginia. Yeah. And we picked him in the 10th round thinking we could fix him, and it looks like we fixed him. You know, we still got the kid.
Thank you, Rick Peterson.
We still got the kid, Matt Allen. I know he had a second Tommy John, so who knows where he's going to end up.
I don't have much hope for that dude, but
maybe he goes to the bullpen.
Fair. So,
and who knows?
I think long story short, I mean, this went from a bottom 10 prospect pool to a top 10 prospect pool. I don't know where exactly they are right now, but
people have said top five. Top five. Yeah. And all it took was we basically bought a top 5 system in a week.
Yeah, I mean, we did. We bought it. But nice to have a top 5 system now with a really deep pocketed owner.
Right.
Mets are in good shape, and tell Mets fans, it's not going to work out this year. Oh, wow. This is year 39 in a row, 38 in a row for me being a Mets fan and not win the World Series. I'm used to that. So,
right. Right. So, you can take all the hot takes out there. Like the team stinks, worst ever. Like, you're right.
And by the way, you guys know us. We're not Mets Kool-Aid guys. we ripped the shit out of them last year, especially after the deadline. And we're willing to rip the shit out of them again. Like I've been doing it my whole life. I'm not carrying water for Cohen or anything like that. This is just what I feel about these trades, and I kind of like them.
I think we did a really good job. We recouped a lot of value for a bunch of guys that were aging out, to your point earlier, turning 40 or becoming free agents. Yeah. I think we've replenished our cupboards. We've removed some money. A lot of people seem to think that David Stearns is going to be our president of baseball operations by October, 31st or whenever the 2023 season ends and his contract with the Brewers expires.
And some people think Corbin Burns is coming with him. Speaking of the rotation.
He's a free agent as well, Doug, right?
Mm-hmm.
Corbin Burns. I don't know if I love that because I think hasn't he had arm trouble this year on and off?
He's already on the downside. You think, he might be.
I don't know. But
we got the Mets will 2 to 3.
We got 2 to 3 roster spots to fill and a couple of fringy guys on the out. I think Billy Epler is saving face in the media currently, saying what he said, letting Max come out and say whatever Max said. I think Max is upset about it because that's probably not what he was sold when he signed here last year.
And Max is a goddamn competitor.
He is a competitor, and
he's going to tell you what he's feeling. Yeah, he's not going to.
Yeah, and I think if Epler did do the bait and switch, I don't even think that's bad for free agent signing here because at the end of the day, we have more money than anybody else. I think that it's going to blow over. Max can be pissed; he'll be retired in 2 years. Boris can be pissed, but I don't really think Boris is going to care. He actually won that trade wasn't bad for Boris. His client might have been pissed, but he got next year's contract guaranteed for him. So more money for him, more money for Max. And I'm sure the Mets would have picked that contract up regardless of how he ended out the year, unless he got severely injured. By the way,
I would have lived with it. That would have been
fine.
We
all would have lived with it. I told you
a few days ago that I would have been fine if they keep one of them.
I just think it was an opportunity to go get. I mean, we went and got 3 top 50 overall mid-year MLB prospects, or top 100 overall mid-year prospects for 2 guys about to or already in their 40s.
You have to build a foundation. And by the way, did you see the new client Boris picked up?
Marco Vargas, the second baseman.
Yeah, I think so.
We traded for.
Shit, I thought it was Luis Angel Acuna, or it was one of them.
Maybe he got both. He definitely got Vargas from Florida.
Okay. So, you know what? Maybe that's what I was looking at.
He's not fucking stupid. He's like, oh, you're not on the Marlins anymore. You're on the Mets, Steve Cohen. Let me represent you.
You're going to want to talk to me.
You want? Let me be your agent. We'll do it for free until you fucking hit. Yeah, you already paid your whatever.
Until your first arbitration, and then
exactly. And then we'll start hitting you over the head. But I really do like everything they did. I really think we're set up for next year and in the future. I don't know if we're going to sign David Stearns. I don't know if Buck Showalter is going to want to stick around here after this year.
Yeah,
But
I think maybe we talk about Buck as the year winds down. I'm not sure how I feel about him coming back either, honestly. I know that's a little two-faced, but let's see how this year winds down, right?
sure.
Um,
So, overall, I think as of July 31st, August 1st, 2023, where we stood, how this year's gone, and everything that's happened, Epler did exactly what I would have done.
yeah.
And whether he's telling the truth about not trying to compete next year or just said what he needed to say to get Verlander and Max to accept the trades and remove their trade, because that was his leverage. We're not going to compete next year. Well, then fuck this place. I'm out of here. I got 2 years left or 1 year left. I'm not dealing with this. And, what Steve said today, if you read it to John Heyman, it was, we will compete in 2024. There's free agent pitching. We need free agent pitching. 2025 is when our younger talent will start reaching the major leagues. Mm-hmm. So
I'm sorry. I'm not buying that they're punting next year. If that's the narrative, no, it's way too early for that. And again, thank God they're not picking up Javier Baez at the deadline for a team that's dead on arrival. Thank God they're not picking up, who is it, like Steve Reed we traded Jason Bay for back in the day. Thank God we're not picking up Victor Zambrano for Scott Kazmir when we're under 500. I wish I could go on, but I've lost my momentum. If you can think of any as well, let me know. Oh, God, the Frank Viola trade back when I was a kid. God, there have been some horrible Mets trades.
So was that at the deadline or what?
Yeah,
was that at the deadline?
I think it was in July. Yeah, and they traded Aguilar, Tapani, David West, and somebody else. And God, that was a disaster. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't Frankie V's fault. Like, he was a good pitcher for the Mets, but he bailed as soon as he could, and that team was like circling the drain. But
right.
I mean, Rick and Tapani got rings the next year, I believe, or 2 years.
Yeah, Rick became a prolific closer for the next 5 years.
Oh, here's another one. Billy Taylor for Jason Isringhausen.
That was a good one.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
300 saves after that.
I mean, the two guys that we traded to the Reds for Tyler Naquin last year is not looking great.
The cheap red.
The Javi Baez trade is not looking great.
Yeah. Oh, God. Pete Crow, Armstrong.
I mean, pretty much every move that Brody Van Wagenen made is not looking great.
No.
So,
no. And most of the ones Sandy made, not great either. So, yeah, again, we didn't pick up a bunch of Negosics and Drew Smiths. No offense, Drew, but you're just kind of a middle mediocre guy. We picked up some chips, and this team, it doesn't pray that all of them will pan out like some teams. This team will use these to get established guys.
Right.
I'm Alfred E. Newman over here. What me worry? Nah, man.
So at the end of the day, I think we did okay, Doug. I think we did okay to your point.
We did too.
And this year is just going to continue being what it is, a year where nobody's watching, or we'll watch a little more actually because we're going to root for the underdog kids. Yeah.
And,
hey, everybody out there. Hey.
Yo. Yeah, you're right. Like, I'm sure I'll have the game on in the background. I have to get up early in the morning, so I'm going to knock myself out. I'm going to Miami tomorrow, but I'll have the game on. It'll be cool to see some new faces. It's always weird when Doug O'Keefe has no idea who is playing for the Mets. And I came home last night, and there was a guy named Ortega, and I was like, "Did we make another trade? Was he
the Mets?
Kansas City?
The Mets didn't even know who he was. They posted something that was like, Rafael Ortega and all these people have been called up, and they labeled him as a relief pitcher. And I'm like, okay. And then 5 minutes later, like starting center field, Rafael Ortega. And I'm like, wait, what? I thought this dude was a relief pitcher.
Look, the dude has a glove. He gets to play. Throw him out in center.
I think he played for like the A's last year.
It turns out he's been on like 5 teams.
Yeah, he's 32 years old, a journeyman, like whatever guy.
I'll use him for
whatever.
Grid.
Yeah, let him play the rest of the year as a fourth outfielder. Who cares? I just want, and they didn't bring up Mauricio, so let's talk about that a little bit. They
Uh-huh.
didn't bring up Maurizio. How do you feel about that?
Uh, I think they're working on him, but I will be disappointed if he doesn't come up before the end of the year. I mean,
Yeah, I think
they've given everybody else a taste.
I think they're still very concerned about his pitch selection at the plate. I think he's
Mm-hmm.
a very, the comparisons to Soriano ring
Yeah,
true in so many different ways. And if he
yeah.
even
He might
becomes
get
Soriano,
he'll get eaten alive by like leverage relievers in late innings right now. I'm sure, but
I'm sure he'll get eaten alive by a lot of people. I think
it,
he can see and hit the fastball. I don't think he knows how to lay off the breaking shit, and I think he will chase things out of the zone. He doesn't have a good. I don't think he has a good grasp of the strike zone still,
he's no
and
Marco
I think
Vargas.
that's why they're holding him back. He's no Marco Vargas.
Marco
But
Vargas
if he
leading
can,
leading the minors in walks, I believe. Right? Did we mention that? I think we mentioned that.
oh yeah, we knew what we
Or
were
last
doing.
show.
We knew what we were doing.
We know what we're doing.
I don't think we mentioned it on this show, so maybe it was last show.
Yeah, right. Last show.
So I hope he gets his cup of coffee. September
he
to October.
should like when the AAA starters are up, let him go nuts.
Let him run out at second base every day. See how him and Lindor do, or let him run out in left field every day and
Wherever.
see how he does. There's no reason to not let him play right now,
Absolutely.
other than letting him accumulate, major league time. So keep it to short enough that he can come back. So I'd say September. September makes sense, right? But maybe not. Maybe you want to wait until like May of next year. So I think that would be awkward if you didn't get a couple of days in the majors this year.
It would be, especially with this roster now.
Right.
Do we
let Vientos play DH every single day. Let Beatty play third base every single day.
Yeah, you can give Stewart at bats in the outfield. Sure.
Let Stewart and Ortega play.
Story.
Right field for the time being, and we'll go from there, man. But at this point, I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to see Vogelback at DH much longer. I don't think we need
put
to
him in the outfield. That'll be fun. I mean, let's tank for a pick here, right?
That's the other thing.
Wrong sport.
If we you're actually right. If we finish in the bottom 6, we don't have to drop 10 picks because of the amount of money we've spent. So we actually really do want to tank for the rest of the year because we'll go from this.
That seems hard. I feel like we're like the 18th best team. I don't know.
Well, let's take a look, Doug. Let's take a look.
Actually, they did lose last night. I was thinking like they're like not too far under 500, are they?
We are currently in. There's only
50 and
1,
56. Huh.
There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 teams worse than us in the National League, and 1, 2, 3, 4 teams worse than us in the American League. So what's
we're in the striking distance.
So we're in 9th right now. We're the 9th best team, and if we somehow, I mean, we don't really have the pitching or the our hitting is okay, but these guys are probably going to be dejected. Yeah. We don't have the pitching, and there's a lot of teams within 5 to 7 games of us. So it's not like we're 50 and 56 and we're like running away with it. We're like 50 and 56, and there's a 48 win team, a 43 win team, a 49 win team. We could easily finish bottom 6. And
I mean, this staff stinks now. You're right; it's bad.
I would even let Kodai go on a 6 day turn instead of a 5-day turn.
Please don't damage him. I mean, he's one of the few bright spots this year. Him, Alvarez, and I guess Beatty holding his own.
He's not really holding his own, but it's his first year.
We can evaluate him. Yeah,
I think he's going to hit. I think he's eventually going to hit. So
there's something there.
There's definitely something there. He's been up and down. He's been on a team that has a lot of expectations, and he's taken over the role midway through the year when the team was really fledgling, and it hasn't really turned it around. I think he's got a veteran manager that I don't know if he really loves younger guys, to be honest with you.
Well, he used to be good at that, right? Like he got the Yankees ready, got the Diamondbacks ready.
He even had the Orioles when that's how he transitioned the Orioles, but I also don't know if, he's almost 70, and I think our analytics department is heavily involved in a lot of things that we don't know about. So, which I think
it wouldn't surprise me at all if this is his last year. I like Buck. It wouldn't surprise me.
Well, there's rumblings out there that we're getting Stearns, that Epler will stay as the GM, we'll get Stearns as the president, and Craig Counsell will be our new manager,
Really?
and Buck will.
Okay.
That's what they're saying. Counsell's a free agent.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I don't know.
Are they going to move that team? That sucks.
The Brewers?
Milwaukee. I hear they're next after the A's.
I don't think so. They have a great stadium, and I think they have a great following.
They already need a new stadium. Apparently, it's been 20 years. That's how it works.
My goodness gracious!
Ask the Braves.
Yeah, the Braves make anything work. Signing guys to 100-year, $9 million contracts after they get them on board. So, anyway, Doug, you got anything else on this show you want to talk about? We've done about an hour, 45 minutes here.
What else we got? Obviously my fantasy season's over. Tim Patrick died. So I'm.
Are you keeping him? Were you keeping him?
Oh, I gave away a pick for him in the off season.
In our Norwalk League.
I still got the touch, baby.
Do you need a 7th rounder later? Or are you you're recouping that pick?
No. It's in Dynasty. I gave like a 4th round pick in Brandon's league.
Got it.
Yeah. No, I'm
like, I got some guys ready to go.
Yeah. No, times aren't that tough there. But what else we got? What's been going on in sports? You guys watch sports?
We got the NFL preseason kicks off tomorrow night with the JETS.
Oh, good.
You want to talk a little bit about that, or you want to wait till next week?
Yeah, sure. I mean, good luck to everybody's ACLs. Although you're not going to see any starters.
No, the Jets already said Aaron Rodgers will play maybe a series against the Giants, maybe.
In the last game, maybe.
And I'm totally fucking good with that.
Bubble wrap.
Yes. Zach Wilson, you can be the preseason fucking... It'll be funny because Zach Wilson will probably rack up the most yards and touchdowns in the preseason, and everyone will be like, oh my God, he's having a great preseason. It's like, no, he just had the most snaps of anybody right. by far. So,
and a certain friend of ours will talk himself into Zach being the future of the NFL.
Josh has already tried to trade me Zach Wilson 3 times. And I'm like, why would I do that? And he's like, well, he's going to be the future of the Jets. And I'm like, in 3 years, you're not going to keep him. You're going to put him on waivers. I'm not giving up a draft pick to stash a guy. What?
Well, I don't know. Is Mike White any more valuable? I might keep Zach. I'd probably keep Zach over Mike White, but
I wouldn't keep either of them. They're a waste of a roster.
Yeah,
they're a waste of a roster.
We're talking about Hail Marys here, kind of like Trey Lance.
Oh, dude, did you see his latest Twitter video? You did an X video of him doing drills? Dude, it's bad. When they would show the Zach Wilson shit last year when he would just miss wide open guys. Trey Lance was doing footwork drills where he was running in and out of the sandbags. Yeah. And then he dropped back and he, looked to his check down and he threw it to the running back, who was probably 3 yards in the flat. And dude, it was no pressure, nothing. It was a drill. And he missed him by 10 yards. It wasn't even close. He airmailed it, dude.
He Uncle Rico'd it.
Yes. And I mean, I can't believe you didn't see it. It was everywhere, dude. If there's ever a time to cut bait with Trey Lance, it might be now.
My life is demonstrably better not being on that site for 4 or 5 hours a day. I can tell you that. I'm not.
Which one? Around. Fantrax?
No.
Twitter?
Yeah.
Yes. There's still things.
Although at work, I still catch myself scrolling. So
the trade deadline was yesterday. Was still a great day.
I had to log in. Yes, you're right.
Yes, for the X-verse, but and I'm a big Chelsea FC fan.
Okay,
and the summer transfer window is open right now, and there's a couple guys that are hot to trot after, and so I will check in about once a day just to see if anybody got signed. So, but it's so stupid.
You're right. We need to build something that works for sports, because it's the only thing I'm going to miss. Fuck the public town square bullshit. Fuck social media. Fuck the information superhighway. Fuck connecting the world. Those are all bad ideas, guys. But we do need to know when Tim Patrick
When,
explodes his Achilles heel in day
like,
2 of preseason.
to the second though, you can't
Yes,
wait
to
the hour
second.
for
Nope.
You can't wait
Yep.
the hour for ESPN to let
It
it
has
out.
to like give it
It's
to me
instant
now.
gratification.
Yeah, it's that.
So, yeah,
the rats hitting
I-
the cocaine in the cage in that experiment. Yes,
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
more.
Yes. Anything else you got, Dougie? Anything you want to talk about?
I mean, we're doing a grand Via Con Dios to one of our teams, so this is always a big episode every year for us. We say goodbye to teams that aren't going to win. This is not our year, New York Mets. I mean, that one's easy. Is there anyone you want to say goodbye to?
Yeah, I'll say Via Con Dios to Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Eduardo Escobar, Mark Canha or Kenya, however you pronounced it, I still don't know.
Connor.
And Dominic Leone.
Oh, who could
and
forget Dominic
Tommy
Leone?
Pham.
And once
And
again,
Tommy
Stephen
Pham.
Nagosic, we miss you so much. And also Pee Wee Herman and Sinead O'Connor.
Dude, yeah, that was some crazy
Fucking
shit.
A, man.
R.I.P. Pee Wee. You know, you got a bad
And-
rap for beating off in that fucking
In
theater.
in the theater that is for people beating off in it.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Great police work there, Lou.
TMZ before TMZ was TMZ.
He was jerking off in a. Well, by the way, the concept of a porno theater is kind of funny, especially in 2023, I guess. But
I don't think
that
they
was,
exist.
that,
Do
that
they
was our
exist
world.
anymore?
That was our world. I've never been in a porno theater. Have you?
I have never been in a porno
And,
theater, but
I've looked at porn.
I can't imagine. I can't. Me neither. I can't imagine that they exist.
No, I said I think I have.
Me
I'll
too.
check.
I think that they exist though. I think that they still exist, but like where? Like they're probably
Yeah.
like the deep
San
south.
Bernardino.
No, you think they're in the deep south? Maybe not, because that's like super Christian. But that's
Yeah.
usually the shit that super Christians do that they don't tell anybody about is like go to the
like,
porno theater and like get caught coming out. You know.
It's a certain like Bible group in the bottom of the church a certain day. Just the people who know, they know.
Like I think the Righteous Gemstones, that'll be an episode.
Yes.
Have you seen that show, by the way?
Oh, dude,
that'll be an
I am
episode that
caught
one of them
up,
will get
man.
caught.
Huge fan of that show, and I love how a lot of people think it's like unwoke, and they don't realize they're being made fun of. Even better, but anything Danny McBride does is
Yes, Vice Principals,
so good.
so good.
Eastbound and Down, the foot faced way. If you've never seen,
I don't know what
I'm sorry,
I don't know.
the foot fist way. I said the foot face way. I'm going to get foot faced later.
I think I've seen that one. That
Okay.
one, yes.
Where he's the karate
Awesome.
instructor, right? Yeah.
Yes, I mean, even in Tropic Thunder, he was amazing.
Oh God,
He was great in Pineapple Express.
I don't remember anything about Pineapple Express except that fight scene, which is fantastic.
Yes.
I guess
I mean, Danny
gotta watch that again.
McBride is a genius. He was also great in This Is the End. And that movie,
Oh, yeah.
I had such high hopes, but he played himself very well in that movie. So,
He did,
anyway,
so
it's been a great show, buddy. We'll do an
Via Con
episode
Dios, Danny
totally.
McBride. Wait, no, that's not. What
No,
we're
he's still alive. Well, but he's
good.
getting fatter every season. So
John Goodman, please don't die. You're a national treasure. We just lost Pee Wee. I'll put it that way.
Yes. All right, buddy. It was great. We'll fucking catch up next week, audience. Until next time. Oh, Douglas, that was good.